What I got, you can't buy. It resides between my eyes. Walked through the fire, came out better on the other side. See, life's like a beach if you find the sand. Right now, I'm feeling like 100 grand.
You are listening to Inspired Insider with your host, Dr. Jeremy Wise.
Dr. Jeremy Weiss here, founder of InspiredInsider.com, where I talk with inspirational entrepreneurs and leaders. Today is no different. I have Roger Einstoss of Braintly. You can find them at Braintly.com. It's like brain and then TLY. Roger, before I formally introduce you, I always like to point out other episodes of the podcast people should check out. You know, since you can basically hire Braintly and they could be your engineering team out of Latin America. So some of the interesting tech interviews I've done include I had one of the co-founders of Zapier on the podcast, which was an interesting one. I had one of the co-founders of Pipedrive. I remember Pipedrive had, at the time, maybe around 10,000 customers. Now I think they have over 100,000 customers. I had the founder of Aweber, which is like a email campaign system, and many more. You can check them out on InspiredInsider.com. If you type in any keyword in there, you'll find whatever strikes your fancy, I guess you could say. So check those out. And this episode is brought to you by Rise25. At Rise25, we help businesses give to and connect to their dream relationships, partnerships. We do that by helping you run your podcast. Sometimes we help people get on podcasts. We do the strategy, the accountability, and the full execution. So, Roger, you notice we are kind of like the magic elves that run in the background to make it look easy. So a host can just show up, create amazing content, create amazing relationships, most importantly, just run their business. For me, the number one thing in my life is relationships. I'm always looking at ways on how to give to my best relationships. And I have found no better way over the past decade to profile the people and companies I most admire and share with the world what they're working on. So if you've thought about podcasting, you should, or being a guest, in Roger's case, feel free to check out rise25.com or email us at support@rise25.com. I am excited to introduce Roger Einstoss. He's co-founder and CEO of Braintly. He's been connecting top talent from Latin America for over 12 years. They work with companies like Volkswagen, T-Mobile, and many, many, many more. And Roger, thanks for joining me.
Hey, thank you so much for having me.
So let's just start off and talk about Braintly and what you do. I'm going to pull the site up as you're talking.
Cool, thank you. Well, we basically connect top talent from Latin America with companies in the US. So when you're a company in the US and you need to find the best talent in Latin America, we are your bridge that can connect you with that talent and also help you not only hire people, but also managing them, keeping them always like happy, self-motivated. So we define ourselves like as a software company, but also as a bridge between the US and Latin America.
What kind of clients come to you?
Okay, our ideal client it's an SMB, a small or medium-sized business in the US. Most of them in the East Coast, but we also have clients in the West Coast. So companies between 20, 30, and 100 employees are most of our clients, but we also work for big corporations like Volkswagen or Tupperware, not only in the US, but also in Argentina, Brazil, Mexico. So our focus today, it's more the US, but we have experience working for different countries around the world.
What are some of the big mistakes you see people making when hiring technical people?
Wow, that's a good one. Most of the times, thinking if they are technical people, thinking that they have time to go through the process, but at the end of the day, not having time to do it. You know that many times you have CTOs that they have the skills to interview people and decide if they are the right person or not for the team, but they don't have the time to do it, but they think they have. And when it comes to non-technical founders, most of the times that they believe that it's easy to vet an engineer, to talk with a developer, to understand what they want for their career, and not delegating that big task in someone who can do it.
So is it when you say that like a CTO, they think they have the time, but they're not spending the time they need?
Yeah, yeah, because you know that in medium-sized companies, most of the times the CTO is also writing code. So they have to split their time in leading with people, writing code, solving problems in productions, and also trying to achieve the objectives that the CEO set for the company. And above all of that, they also need to take care of hiring and recruiting. And it's something that usually technical people don't like to work in hiring and recruiting. So that's where we come and say, hey, we can help you. We can be your partner in this difficult task that you have to get done.
Talk about a little bit, Roger, how it works to work with you. Are you hiring, is someone from your team working with them? Are you hiring an external person? Talk about how it works.
Yeah, basically, we have two models. One of the models is the staff augmentation. So if you have a technical team, let's suppose you have a CTO or you have a VP of engineering, we can hire only the engineer, the developer, or the quality assurance guy, and we assign that person to your team. So you will manage the day by day of that person, and we take care of hiring, recruiting, administrative staff, taxes, paying them in Latin America, everything. But you are the one who manage the day by day of that person. You are the manager. The other model, it's something we call squads team. It's basically an agile team where we assign not only the developer, but also the project manager. And it's more focused on non-technical founders who need someone who can help them think the roadmap, think the product, understand them, how is the best solution for some real problem that they have, translating that like real life problem to a technical solution. So we always say at the end of the day that we are building engineering teams in Latin America. But when you make like a double click, we have those two models, like the managed services model and the all the staffing model.
Talk about the vetting process for a second. You have
Okay.
to go out and obviously you're helping these companies, um, and you're supplying them with great engineering talent for their team. What's some things in the vetting process when you're helping hire these people for the companies that you have found is valuable?
Yeah, that's the best part of the process. It's very, very important for us to understand and assign time to meet the technical people in the client with our technical people to deeply understand the kind of profile that they need, not only the technical things, but also the soft skills. I mean, if they are a senior developer, if they will be like making decisions alone, or if they will be making like architecture decisions, different kind of things that we need to get that information from the client. And once we have that information, we start the recruiting process, and we have two instances in our side. First, we make like a cultural interview, because before understanding that that's the right person from the technical point of view, for us, it's even more important to know that they are the correct fit from the cultural point of view. Because remember that one of the best things that we have in Latin America is the cultural alignment between the way that people in the US work and the way that people in Argentina or in Latin America in general work. So that's the first step. The second one, it's a technical interview where we empower people to solve that problem using AI, because we want to know, and we want to like evaluate them, not only solving the problem but also how they explain their decisions that they make, because we know that they will use obviously Google, ChatGPT, Copilot, whatever, but the most important thing is understand how they think the solution. So once we did those two steps, if we understand that it's the right candidate for you, we present the candidate to the client saying, hey, we choose this person, Jeremy, and we choose him because A, B, and C, and we believe that it's the right fit for you because A, B, and C, and you can have like your personal interview, technical interview, or you can just say, hey guys, I trust you. And if you say that that's the correct person, it's okay for me.
Talk about why engineering, right? Because you could have been like, we're going to source customer service people in Latin America. Why did you choose the engineering software developer route?
The answer is focus. I'm a software engineer. My partners are also software engineers. So the thing that we have been doing for almost 20 years is writing code, talking with developers, leading developers and technical people. And we don't know how to make a good interview to a customer success manager. We can learn it, yes, of course, but we are really, really good vetting engineers. And that's why, and we also know that there is like a huge gap between the amount of engineers that the market in the US needs and the amount of the engineers that are offered. So why not is the answer. Why not only focus on engineers, which is the thing that we know how to do?
What are some of the advantages of hiring in Latin America?
The first and the biggest one, I think, it's time zone. Time zone difference with Latin America, it's 1 hour, 2 hours, depending on the city. For instance, with the East Coast or Argentina, right now we have 2 hours, but most of the year we have only 1 hour. The second thing is the cultural alignment that people in Latin America have with people in the US, not only from the personal point of view, but also the way that we understand work. We are like natural challengers. We are, for instance, if you compare talent from Latin America with talent from Philippines, for instance, we are more. I would say we like to say no. I don't think that this is the right path. Why not we do this or that? Because we grew up going through different kind of crises. I always tell that in Argentina last year we had like 300% of inflation. So we taught how to make things happen despite the context. And that's like an amazing secret sauce for talent from Latin America. And it's also cost efficient. Hiring an engineer in Latin America, it's up to 50 or 60% cheaper than hiring an in-house engineer in the States. And last but not least, the quality of the talent. Argentina, for instance, it's top in the top three of the countries that when it comes to English writing and talking and speaking. Sorry, also we are in the top 10 of the best universities in the world. We have like Nobel prizes, so you find an amazing pool of talent and people that really want to make amazing things happen.
I know it varies with experience and everything like that, Roger, as far as the rates go. What's the range someone should expect maybe in the US and then compared to the range in Latin America?
Imagine that in Latin America, you can hire a senior developer paying maybe 8,000 a month, which is something like 100K a year. And if you hire the same senior engineer in the States, obviously depend on the city, but if you are hiring them in, I know, in New York, obviously in San Francisco, but also in some like smaller cities like, I know, Cleveland or Boston or Chicago, you will be paying double that, maybe 180 or 190K. So it's 50 or 60%, obviously depending on the seniority. It's not the same to hire a junior developer than hiring a senior developer. And also something interesting is it's not the same senior developer for me than for you. So we have to align that vision of what is a senior for us, for each of us.
Yeah, and will you only hire full time or do you hire part time as well?
Full time, but full time because uh, all of these years working with different kind of companies and helping them to create their engineering teams and digital products taught us that it's very difficult for a developer to have like a split focus in two or three projects. So it's unreal that you can say to a person, okay, you will work for this project from 9 to, I know, to noon or to 1 p.m. and then just switch, because it's not always a matter of time. It's a matter of focus, and maybe a developer can solve something in 2 hours, something that he had been working for 8 hours without no solution. And then in 1 hour, you say, wow, I get it. So it's a matter of focus. And also from the client point of view, the amount, not related to money, but effort of investment that they want to do. If they are willing to say, okay, I need a person for this project, it's not the same that you say, okay, I need 10 hours a month. It's a matter of segmentation of clients also.
I want to go back to what you said, interested about the interview process. And you mentioned, there's technical interview portion, there's a cultural interview portion. What are some of the questions that you ask, maybe for your company, from the cultural interview point of view?
Yeah. It's an interesting question. It changed between each role and each interview, but we also interview using a methodology that it's called learning agility. Basically, it works asking the candidate about situations that they needed to go through. So it's not the same to say, give me three examples of leadership, for instance, if you are interviewing a project manager, than saying, okay, tell me about a situation uh, when you have to give negative feedback to someone. So they can tell you how was that situation of giving negative feedback to someone or maybe firing someone, and then you start asking questions about that to understand if that is like a real situation that the candidate went through, or it's like just a story that just read in ChatGPT, so always putting them in situation of something. Sometimes like a role playing, like, okay, imagine that now I'm your developer and I did something wrong. How do you tell me that? So we understand if they just like feeling nervous, or many times in English. For instance, we start our interview in Spanish, but then from one moment to another, we say, okay, from this moment we'll continue the interview in English, and maybe we ask the same questions again to understand if they use 2 minutes to respond something in Spanish, but then in English they say, okay, yes, no. So the language skill, it's a must for us.
I do want to talk about culture for a second. I'm just going to share one of my favorite parts of your website Roger, is your about page, and specifically your values. And can you just talk about coming up with some of the values? We have people-centered. Actually, this is my favorite part. I probably stuck on this one and watched it like 10 times because I think it's hilarious. With the office permanently on beta, because I actually have seen this episode where Kevin spills this whatever it is, chili or whatever it is. Talk about how you came up with some of these core values, people-centered, permanently on beta. With great freedom comes great responsibility. Let's have fun with it. There's no place like home. And this is also fun. You picked out some good gifts here. This is hilarious.
Yeah.
So talk about coming up with these.
Yeah, the story about people center comes because with Facu, one of my business partners, we met each other working for another company, and it was I know how to say it, but it was like a sad job, you know. It was not people centered. So since the moment we started thinking about creating a company, we always thought, okay, we want to create a company where people want to just wake up every morning and come to the office. Or before COVID, now we are fully remote, and just get the job done. So we always put the people in the middle of everything because it's more than a phrase. I mean, if you want to have like amazing results, you need people that it's full compromise with the projects and with the company. Otherwise, it will fail. So that's why every decision that we make, even firing someone, it's backed on people centered and the other values. And the continuous beta, it's interesting for us because I always tell to the people that we are engineers and we didn't know how to create a company. We just started and trying to do things. And even today, after almost 15 years, we still trying things and new things. And that's the best part of my job. I mean, you know that all the people say that if you see the S&P 500 over the years, the companies changed because if you can't have the ability to change your business model, your values many times, and the way you get things done, you will probably die as a company. So it's one of our core values to always be testing and trying new things, even the developers with our clients, and also we try to find clients that share that value with us. I mean, we can assign a developer that maybe have like a performance problem. It's always that can happen, but it's not the same to say, okay, I will kill you and I will fire you because you had like a bad week, that having a good conversation with the client saying, hey, I think this guy should start doing this, stop doing that, and we can talk about it and make things work. So that's one of the core ones. Um, and having fun, it's part of people centered. um, I always like to say that Braintly it's a place where if you get your job done, now they will be asking you like, okay, why did you, I know, went out at 5 p.m. instead of 6? We believe that it's obviously a matter of time because we sell like a full-time service, but it's more a matter of quality and delivery. At the end of the day, if we get things done, that's the important thing.
On this, on that point, and you mentioned obviously the team's virtual. What are some ways that you help you manage a virtual team, and what's been successful for you, and other people can think about that?
Yeah, it's challenging. We used to have a home office before COVID, but then during COVID, we just went fully remote. We have people all over Argentina. Argentina is a big country, so we have people maybe 4 hours away from Buenos Aires, which is the main capital. So we have two physical meetings a year, once in July in the middle of the year, and once in December. So we organize a party and we bring people from all over the places just to see each other, to spend an entire day talking about work, but also about our personal life, drinking beer, mate, eating an asado, which is something really traditional here in Argentina. And then we have one-to-ones twice a month with every single person in the company. No matter if it's assigned to a staff augmentation project, which we don't lead that people directly or not, we ask them every 2 weeks, okay, how are you feeling? Are you happy with the things that you are working on? Do you need me to talk with the client because I know something is treating you bad, or you are not happy with the kind of task that you are working on? And obviously, like, having an open communication, not having fear of talking about or having difficult conversations, not only from us to them, but also from them to us. So I'm a big believer that if you talk things, everything is possible.
I want to talk, when I think of your company, I always think of tech companies, but you help a lot of different types of companies. So we'll get to a tech example, but there was one which I didn't expect. I'm going to pull it up here in a second. Here's your core values here, which is New Book. Can you talk about what you do with New Book? And it's newbookmodels.com. What'd you do with them?
Yeah. Well, New Look, it's a really interesting project because they founded the company before COVID and they sold the company before COVID. But then the new owner during COVID, he didn't know how to make things happen in the new world. So the original founders, Seb and Nora, they got the company again. They bought the company again. The first time when they founded the company, they raised money, they did like the venture capital path. But the second time, they thought, okay, this time this will be like a bootstrap. That was the time where we met them and started working together. I think that they were working with a team in India, but it was difficult to deal with the time zone difference and the cultural thing. So we were like a perfect mixture and a perfect match. And I always like to tell the story about New Book because it's a perfect way of showing how things between the States and Latin America can perfectly work, and also how they take advantage of this thing of the cost efficient of hiring people in Latin America because they were bootstrapping. So obviously every dollar it's even more important. So it's a story, and also they are one of my favorite clients because we have been working together for I know 4 years now. So every now and then we go to the States and visit them, and also they come to Argentina. Last year they spent 2 or 3 months here. We went to the river, we ate asados. So like you, I'm also a big fan of personal relationships and develop that.
Yeah, this is interesting because so it's a marketplace for models. So if like, I don't know, Disney, Lululemon, Nordstrom needs people for their commercial or some video or an ad, they can go to this marketplace and look. And then so your augmented staff will help kind of, just make sure all the features and bells and whistles and the platform is functioning and adding new features and things like that.
Yeah. In this case, we have a squad, an entire team working with them, and we help them to execute the roadmap, to get the things done, create new features, also give support to existing features. So it's a nice example.
Another example is a health tech, which is more of what I originally expected, but obviously these days all companies have some kind of, website presence and tech behind it. What'd you do with the health tech company?
Yes, we have another client in the healthcare or health tech space. We can't say the name because of the NDA, but the challenge there was that they were looking for a developer who could work with augmented reality in Unity, and I think that they were looking for the person like for 4 months, 6 months, and they weren't able to get it. So they came to us because of the referral, and we told them, okay, we promise you that we can do this in a month. I don't know why we promised that, but it was something that we know that, okay, we have these people in the pipeline. We have some people with this like Unity skills, which is something really hard to get. So we will do it. And we did it. And that person has been working since a year and a half or early last year. Yeah, a year and a couple of months. And they fall in love with that person because not only we were talking about this thing of cultural thing, we not only find developers but also find people that want to be involved in the business. So the success story about this is not only the amount of time that we took to find the right person, which was a month, against the 6 months that they were looking for, but also the kind of person that we assign that now they love him and they want him in different kind of projects, but obviously he only has a day. So it's a nice story too.
Yeah, I'd love to hear some of your favorite tech, right? It could be software you use as a company or any apps that you use. What's some of your favorite software tools in your
Um,
toolbox?
well, you were saying about Zapier and Pipedrive. I'm a heavy user of both. I like Pipedrive, but when it comes to Zapier, I can't believe the unbelievable work of engineering that they have behind the scenes. It's unbelievable. And they founded the company maybe 10 years ago. I don't know. So they have been doing this for many years. I love Zapier, definitely. And when it comes to day by day applications, I use Todoist, which is a to do list application. I'm an engineer, so I'm a big fan of having everything organized and having my lists. So it helps me a lot to keep track of everything that I have to do. So I use, no matter if I have to go to the dentist or do something for a client, everything is in Todoist. It's even more useful than calendar for me. I also use calendar, obviously, but having everything writing down there, it's amazing.
Any other favorite apps? It could be business or personal.
I also use Slack. I'm a big fan of Slack. Um, and now in the last 4 months, I became a big fan of the health application from the iPhone. I started like I'm doing like a personal change in my life, trying to eat like in a healthier way, walking the 10,000 steps a day, those things. So I'm a little bit obsessed about the health application from the iPhone, tracking my sleep cycles, my daily steps, everything. And I'm looking for a good application for that. So maybe if someone in the audience is listening and know a good application for that, I'm happy to hear it.
Yeah, I have a whole folder on my home screen that is just dedicated to health apps because I geek out on that type of stuff. So yeah, I have some suggestions for you there, of course. I
Cool.
use Aura Ring. I don't know if you've used Aura Ring before.
No, I
So
have
I
the app. I have the Apple Watch,
okay.
but I think next step
Yeah.
is the
I
Aura.
mean, the Apple Watch is great. I mean, I don't have an Apple Watch, but from a sleep perspective, I've heard it's just more accurate with the Aura Ring. But you know, tracking all the stuff you need is probably on your Apple Watch, I imagine, as well.
Yeah.
Um, Roger, I have one last question for you. Before I ask it, I just want to point people to Braintly, as you've seen on the screen. If you know someone or you are looking for, engineering talent, um, message them, right? So last question is about mentors. Now, this could be actual mentors in business, or it could be distant mentors, meaning there's just books or resources and people that you've, learned from, or it could be both. So, who are some of the mentors that you consider and that's been helpful on your business journey?
Well, that's a good question. I don't have like one person, one mentor. I have different people that I used to talk with to share ideas. You know that I'm part of EO, this network of entrepreneurs, and something I learned in the last year and a half, it's to ask for help, like knowing someone that you admire, or maybe you just say, "Hey, I saw the things that you are doing. I really love the way you are running your company, and I just want to ask you for, I know, 30 minutes of your time to ask some questions or understand how you think business, your company, people issues, whatever." And I learned to ask for those moments without being shy or without thinking, okay, he or she will think that I'm a stupid guy because I'm asking this or that question. So I ask everything, and if the other person thinks that, okay, this question was stupid, okay, it's a problem of that person, not mine. Um, and I also like to be a mentor for early stage startups, for early stage entrepreneurs who wants to learn about my journey or my experience, and always trying to be really transparent and trying to help them. Like not going through the same mistakes that I made, being humble and trying to say, hey, this is the thing that worked for me. Maybe it will work for you or not, but just take it. And, and that's the same approach that I take when I ask questions to a mentor. But I don't have like one,
Well,
like,
talk about that. That kind of hits on it. I mean, EO, if people don't know, it's Entrepreneurs Organization. It's all over the world, and it helps, founders talk about whatever's going on to work through them and have that network in collaboration. Who are some interesting businesses in EO Argentina?
yeah, there are too many interesting businesses in New Argentina. We are more than 100 members, 120, I think. And you have from digital marketing agencies, software agencies, through, I know, people from the healthcare spaces. There is someone who I know is running like food businesses like McDonald's, but it's another one called Mostaza here in Argentina. There is another one who build airports and routes in Argentina. So it's a nice chapter because it has a good mixture between people who run real life businesses, like, I know, building an airport, and digital businesses like mine. So it's a chapter that and it's growing. It's growing fast, and it's full of really really interesting people. many people from the chapter live in the US, in Miami, in New York, but they still are part of the Argentinian chapter because they have their forum and they want to be in contact with Argentina. So many of them are part of both. I know the New York chapter and also the Argentina chapter.
Yeah, I found, Roger, one of the most important things in my business, in any health business, is just joining a group of like-minded people who are doing what I want to do and pushing me to do more. So I love that. Whatever it is for someone. I'm in EO Chicago. Also, I'm in a specific one just for digital agencies. I also have group that just talk about health related things, so I love that. Anyways, thank you for sharing your stories. Everyone check out Braintly.com and we'll see everyone next time. Roger, thanks so much.
Thank you very much.
What I got, you can't buy. It resides between my eyes. Walked through the fire, came out better on the other side. See, life's like a beach if you find the sailing right now. I'm feeling like 100 grand.